Welcome to the Hump Day Hangout podcast by Semantic Mastery, where we answer your local SEO questions every week at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm Adam Moody, and my partner at Semantic Mastery, Bradley Benner, will be sharing his decades of expertise based on not only helping others, but running his own agencies and businesses in the space. If you'd like to join us live on YouTube each week, just go to www.semanticmastery.com/HDHO at 4 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. If you'd like to ask a question ahead of time, go to the same link, www.semanticmastery.com/HDHO at any time and submit it there. Don't forget, you can get the Semantic Mastery Local SEO Toolkit for free at the same URL. Okay, let's get going with this episode. All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts episode 573. This is, 11 years plus one. So here we are, going to say hi to the guys, and before we get into everything, I also wanted to talk a little bit about upcoming stuff we've got over the next, the big stuff over the next week, and then the coming weeks after that. So, Chris, how you doing today?
Doing good. Still a bit jet-lagged from the weekends, but other than that, enjoying the weather and back in full force to work. So lots of things happening in the background, and things are moving.
Nice, man. Yeah, I feel you. I came back 12 time zones, and then a week later, I'm 3 time zones over. So, yeah, the body is still catching up, I think. But Bradley, I don't know if I told you this. I met a guy at the conference I was at in Bangkok, and he took a boat from LA to Tokyo. And he's like, yeah, it took 17 days and no jet lag. I was like, oh, man, that's genius. I was like, did you work? What were you doing? Vacation? He's like, no, good internet, satellite internet. I was working, 9 to 5 and then just screwing around on the boat in the evenings. And he's like, it was really nice, actually. I got a lot done. So I was like, man, I got to pass that on to everybody who hates flying.
Yeah. That's how we get Bradley around the world.
Yeah, he can only do 4 conferences a year, but he gets around. Bradley, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Busy as hell. Been super tied up with kind of working on this. We got all these new services we're launching. And it's just been a lot of kind of research and trial and error to figure out how to build automations and things like that with AI. But it's pretty crazy because, with the answering service and appointment setting service that I've developed for tree contractors, and now the AI avatar cloning service that we're going to be launching next month. We'll tease that a little bit today. But, those are 2 really good services that you can actually develop a whole entire agency around, which is awesome because I've been talking to a lot of my tree contractors, and a lot of them are interested in AI, but they're not interested in having just AI agents installed into their business because they don't know how to operate them, when they don't know how it's even work with them, so to speak. So I actually had a lot of the conversations that I've had with tree contractors has led me to believe that they're looking for somebody to basically implement AI into their businesses and manage it for them, not show them how to operate or engage with the AI agents and manage it, but just have somebody come in and just be like their AI, chief AI officer, right? What do they call that? A CAIO, right? Or a fractional chief AI officer, right?
Or just right to tell them what they can do instead of them having to figure it out and deal with all that.
So I actually did some research on that, and there is some guys out there, some people that are doing AI development stuff that are actually kind of adopting and teaching that model, which is to do kind of more of a like a fractional CM, like a fractional officer, and for AI officer or whatever. And that is so basically you go in and you've set up automations and things like that, but you basically manage it and run it for them as well, so that they don't. With tree guys, I kind of already knew this anyways. With our answering service that we've been developing, it's not just an answering service; it's an appointment setting service entirely. So there's 2 components to it. There's an AI answering agent, which takes the inbound calls and also responds to form leads, SMS, text messages, everything. But it's not just taking the call and then forwarding the contact information to the contractor, which is what we've done for over 10 years now, but with real people answering the phone instead of AI. So we're not just replacing the the answering service with AI agents. Now we're actually integrating a full appointment setting service, which will actually book the appointment, the estimate request appointment or quote appointment with the caller based upon what times are available on the specific days that are scheduled each week for estimates. And then also based on logistics, where is the consumer, the customer that is calling for the estimate request, where are they located? And so therefore the AI agent will only propose dates and times where it would make sense for the contractor because he's already in that area and he's already got other estimates scheduled nearby. And so anyways, long story short, that's what's called speed to lead, right? Getting that booked appointment is so critically important, because the faster that the sooner that the contractor books the appointment from the time that the caller calls, the more likely it is that they're the ones to get the job. And so if we can book the call on that first call, or book the appointment on that first call, they're much more likely to get that lead. And so anyways, the reason I brought that up was because I've done answering services for Tree Guys for over 10 years. And but now with the AI integration, I've talked about having the AI kind of manage the calls and everything else. And a lot of the Tree Guys are saying like, well, I don't want a CRM. And I know this from trying to sell high level services to Tree Guys. They don't want into the CRM. As soon as you give them access into the sub account, the high level sub account, they lose interest because they don't, it's complicated. I know there's a learning curve. It's taken, I barely scratched the surface for what can be done in high level. So long story short, they don't want that. They just want it done for them, which is why we've been developing this AI answering and appointment setting service. We call it Canopy Call for Tree Guys. But anyways, that's specifically because all they want is the notification that now they have booked appointments. That's it. They don't want to go into CRM. They don't want to follow up. They just want booked appointments on their calendar. And so along the lines of what I started to say earlier, in chatting with Tree Guys now, because I'm working on this other thing called the, we're calling it Clone Constructor, but it's essentially developing an AI avatar for our clients that then we can then publish content for them in their voice using their likeness, because we create a video clone of them and everything. And then manage their lead gen or their content marketing, which generates more leads too. And they want us to manage that entirely for them too. Because there's a couple of different levels that I'm going to be launching as the done for you service in my agency. There's basically like a done for you, like a do-it-yourself type of a level, but that's just a decoy offer, because the next offer up is a fully done for you service. And I know Tree Guys aren't going to want any do-it-yourself component. They're going to want the done for you option. So we have two different levels. The first one is if you've read or listened to Alex Hormozi's new book, The $100 Million Offers or whatever, or $100 million business or whatever the newest one is. He talks about a decoy offer. He talks about all different kinds of offers, but a decoy offer. And that's precisely what the first offer is a decoy offer, because most like 99% of Tree Guys aren't going to want to have any do-it-yourself component. They're going to want us to manage it entirely for them. And so through that kind of conversations between the AI answering and appointment setting service, and now the content marketing and kind of, social media marketing and management kind of service, I know that, Tree Guys, especially, and a lot of probably this, I'm quite sure that this translates or carries over to other businesses, small businesses that serve local markets as well, is that, very few of them are probably really interested in integrating AI if they have to kind of manage it on their own. Maybe I'm wrong, but from at least my experience with chatting with many different Tree Guys over the last several weeks now, they just want somebody to manage it for them. So I'm working on developing kind of a method, or at least a model, where instead of just pitching AI automation services, we pitch like fractional CIO services, whereas they just pay you a retainer on a monthly basis to come in and automate parts of their business and manage it for them. And with Tree Guys, like I said, all they care about is getting appointments on their calendar and in doing the work and in getting paid. And so if we can automate a lot of that for them and then manage it, that's kind of the better route. And I think it could actually completely replace traditional marketing retainers, right? If part of my process is to build automations, but also manage marketing and lead gen, then I could wrap it all up into kind of a fractional CAIO offer, which includes the marketing as well, like in the retainer, as well as just managing the AI services for their operation. So it's pretty interesting as I continue to approach more and more of my tree contractors with what I've been building, the different kind of solutions that I've been building. It'll make sense to, I'll be able to refine this strategy a little bit more and share it with the members of the audience. But I think that's kind of a better approach, at least from my experience with chatting with tree guys recently. It seems like there's going to be a lot more uptake that way when you don't pitch it as, hey, we're going to add AI agents into your business. That's just more complexity. It's instead, I'm going to come in and build systems for you, and my team will manage them for you to where all you have to do is just service the additional workload. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, right. Tell them the results and the end result of like, hey, we're just going to deal with your incoming calls, for example. Like, oh, great. That's easy to understand instead of, hey, we're going to use N8N and we're going to rent you a server. And like, yeah, they don't care.
They don't even know what the hell you're talking about, man. And it's like, so why even bother? Like, just say, look, we've got a number of systems that we can build in your business that will automate a lot of the things for you. And basically, it's behind the scenes. We'll manage it, and we'll just generate more leads for you, and extract more revenue from your existing leads, etc. And that's where, at least with tree guys, and like I said, I can only assume that it would carry over to a lot of other type of local businesses right now that all know that they want and should be doing something with AI, but they don't know how. It's intimidating. They don't know where to start. And if you start pitching them on these services, what happens is you could end up selling them on an agent, integrating an agent into their business. But if they don't fully understand it and they don't know how to utilize it, they're not going to use it properly, and they'll end up, feeling like they were let down, and then they could become jaded. It's almost like, in the SEO industry, as everybody here probably knows, a lot of local businesses have been burned by other SEO agencies. So it is difficult to sell SEO and marketing services to local businesses because a lot of them, most of them, have probably had a bad experience already. And so that's why I think it's just changing the approach a little bit differently. And again, guys, look, if you're booking calls with your ideal prospects on a regular basis and you're having conversations, you can identify these opportunities or reveal kind of the better way to message or frame your offers, your services, so that it's more compelling and more likely to convert. And that's why, again, I go back to, I think it's really important to focus in on lead gen and like marketing and lead generation and booking sales calls for your own agency, because that way, without having those conversations, how can you ever identify those opportunities and really how to really frame your offers?
Definitely. Cool. Well, Bradley, I only got one thing to follow on to that and just say this year, I think we've mentioned it the last couple of weeks, but we are going to be sharing some really fun stuff. And Bradley's basically giving away some training that isn't normally shared publicly over the Black Friday timeframe. So if you're not already on the email list, you're going to want to head over, go to Semantic Mastery, jump on that. And there may also be something else special going on, but won't tell you what that is yet. But that's all I wanted to say about that. If you're on the emails, you'll get notifications. You'll get all that coming your way next week. And then, Bradley, did you want to say anything else about the AI stuff, or are we ready to jump into questions?
Well, just that kind of one of the services that I've been developing in the last several weeks. I'm sure everybody knows, well, anybody that's following kind of the developments with AI, which is hard to keep up with for sure, but Gemini 3.0 rolled out the last 2 days, and it's fucking amazing. And I had already said over the last couple of weeks when I was still using Gemini 2.5 that, it's now my favorite model. Like Grok is still my favorite without a doubt. There's no question. By the way, Grok 4.1 came out the same day that Gemini 3.0 did too as well. And Grok is still my favorite to converse with, like to actually chat with. And for doing a lot of research and stuff, I start with Grok. But as soon as I start to build anything now, I'm in Gemini because it's fully integrated in all of Google's ecosystem, and it just makes it incredibly efficient to build. Whereas any of the other models, you got to patch a bunch of different apps together. And so I found it just so much easier to work in Gemini when actually building. And so the service that I've been developing for my agency, I call it Arbor Avatar. I even got the domain. It's arboravatar.com. And it's basically an AI clone service where we create an actual AI clone of, in the tree industry, it's going to be the founder. It's going to be the owner of the company. So that's what we do is we create a clone of them, like an actual video clone. And through the process of creating the video clone, and I'm getting to a point here about Google, right? And that is, we're actually streaming, guys, through, we're not on Zoom right now. We have always been on Zoom, but now we're streaming directly to YouTube Live, but we're using what's called StreamYard. But with Google, the service that I'm developing, what I call, when we launch this as a training product, guys, it's going to be called Clone Constructor. Okay. So when we launch that next month in December, it's going to be the title of the product is called Clone Constructor. And basically, I'm going to teach you guys exactly what I'm building for my tree service contractors. But and for the tree contractors, it's called Arbor Avatar. But basically, it's all done 100% in Google Workspace. With Google Workspace Business Standard and above, you get full Gemini integration with Gemini 3.0 into all, and you have to go through some configuration steps once you set up the Workspace account to enable Gemini into everything. But everything is built entirely in the Google ecosystem. No additional applications, outside applications, nothing is needed. Even the video the interview that you conduct with the subject that you're cloning is done via Google Meet. And so, like, you don't even need Zoom, nothing. It's just 100% Google Apps with a Google Workspace standard, a business standard or above account, which is $14 a month. So that's it. You need one Google Workspace account, and you can build this entire system in Google Workspace. And it's super, super powerful because, like I said, you know, we're going to be sharing this next in a couple of weeks. I think I said to Adam, we're going to try to schedule the launch for December 8th through the 12th that week. Anyway, it's super powerful, guys, but it's a way to be able to generate content for a client 100% in their voice and in their likeness. So you can even publish videos, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, everything in their likeness, and have them ubiquitous, right? In other words, somebody from the company should be a spokesmodel or a brand ambassador, and we're going to clone that person. In my industry, it's almost like 99% of the time, it's going to be the founder, and that's who we're going to clone. And but in other industries, it might just be an executive or somebody that works at the company, but somebody that is a subject matter expert that is a real verifiable person that has the credentials to be a subject matter expert. And then we clone them in their tone, their style, their mannerisms, the way that they speak, the words that they use, their cadence. All of that is extracted or collected, gathered in a 20-minute Meet interview is all that is needed. Like 20 minutes of conversational dialogue via video, Zoom or Meet. But like I said, everything done in Workspace, it can be done 100% in Meet. And then from that, we take that video and then we have the transcription processed through a series of steps with AI. There's a 3-step process. And again, I've got full SOPs I'm building right now for that. And then from that, we create what's called a tone and style guide. And that tone and style guide is what becomes the system instructions for a Google Gemini Gem, which is what I call a custom copy engine, right? So the AI avatar copy engine, or ACE for short, ACE for short. And so the ACE, or the copy engine, is nothing but a Google Gemini Gem that has in the system instructions what's called the tone and style guide, which is what we create, so that now the gem can publish copy 100% in the voice, tone, and style of the subject, which would be the executive or the brand ambassador, the spokesperson for the company. And then from there, like I've got the only part that requires some, and this is optional, is some third-party connections, is if you want to auto-publish from Google Drive, because everything is managed in Google. And so when the copy is output, so the generated copy, when that is output, it just goes into a Drive folder for now, and then it's up to the whoever's managing this to then go copy and paste into whatever social media planner that they're using. But there is what I'm working on currently, and I've been working on it all day today, is the automations to automatically push the content from the Gemini Gem. Well, it goes from Gemini Gem to Google Drive first, but then from Google Drive into one of the posting apps. And so today I've been building myself, which I didn't want to do, but I've been using Gemini to help me build it. Which was make automation. I've contracted my AI dev team to build an N8N automation, so that we have 2 different kind of automation paths or options for auto publishing the content that the ACE automated, or the AI copy engine produces. And so again, within the next couple of weeks, guys, this will be hopefully we'll be launching this on December 8th. I believe we'll have it ready, but it is a full business in a box, guys. And it's crazy because this is what I started to say earlier. Between the AI answering service and appointment setting service, and this now kind of what I call Clone Constructor, and for tree contractors, it's called Arbor Avatar. That takes care of a vast, 50 to 60% of the marketing can be done, which includes SEO. No kidding, can be done from this posting and publishing content on their behalf in their voice. And so it's kind of like without even traditional SEO. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm fully going to be working traditional SEO in too, and Google Business SEO too. But I'm saying here's a couple of services that aren't even SEO related that you could build an entire agency around, right? Like the voice answering service and appointment setting service is something that, for any kind of company that doesn't have an answering service already implemented needs. Because especially the contractors that are working contractors that don't have office staff, like a receptionist or whatever, like a lot of home service type contractors are, they're the ones answering the phone too, So that's an immediate demand that most companies will have. And that's something that we can pitch immediately without, and it's not even a lead gen thing, but like first, let's get your calls answered so that you can convert more leads into book jobs. Okay, number one. Number two, now that you've got that set up and in place, let's increase your lead volume. Well, how do we do that? Well, let's make you ubiquitous. Let's get you out there to where you're on every fucking platform all the time, actually conversing with consumers and customers, etc. Because the AI can handle all of that. And and by the way, this can all be done in high level. That's how I'm managing it for my tree guys, because the AI employee in a sub account with the social planner and high level guys, like it literally connects to all of your social media accounts to where any reply that comes in from any post or anything else is accessible within the social planner of high level. So the AI employee can actually, with the tone and style guide, can reply back and actually converse with consumers or customers, whatever, that are engaging on the social media channels. And anytime, and there's safeguards that can be set up to where anytime the AI doesn't have a clear, definitive answer to a question that is asked by a consumer, then it automatically flags that conversation to go to the actual founder or somebody in the company that can manage and take over the conversation. And so what I'm saying is like, without any traditional, like kind of normal SEO stuff, we've got two amazing services that you could build an entire agency around. And then if you also have other kind of traditional SEO services, that just becomes another layer or an upsell, a cross sell. And so I'm really excited about this, guys, because it's really transforming like my service offerings for my agency, my local agency. And so far, every tree guy that I've talked to has been incredibly anxious for me to make these services available to them. So that's why I think it's going to be quite attractive for other industries as well. And that's why we're going to be launching this product in the next few weeks. So hopefully that makes sense. Any follow-up questions on that, guys?
Flip over. There was a bunch of notes. Let's see. Yeah, David's got some that might be kind of related. You might want to get to first, or you could come back to them.
Sure. Let me scroll through the comments. I'm getting used to this new platform, guys. So bear with me for a minute. What's up, Jason? What's up, Will? Hey, Will. I haven't seen you in a minute, man. Kevin's here as well. David, what's up, buddy? Gorilla grass. Okay. Is it the good kind of grass? So David says, Bradley, I want to see your demo more of this AI calling appointment setter system. Well, you can check out the kind of voice agent that right now it still needs to be fine tuned, but I've got a demo sales page up for it. It's just a demo sales page for now because I haven't fully launched it. My AI dev team is working on the logistics side, the appointment setting side of things right now. But if you go to voice.treecarehq.com, you should be able to see the kind of a demo, and that's just the AI employee voice agent inside of high level. And so if you actually call that number that's on that kind of demo page, there's an AI agent will answer, and it will basically take you through a demonstration of the AI answering service part of it. But the appointment setting side is still being developed. That's why it hasn't launched yet. My goal is to, when I do launch that, you guys will know about it for sure. Like I said, I call that Canopy Call Lead Rescue Service for Tree Care, or Canopy Call for short. And so that's still in development, but I do have the AI answering service side of it completed. So I've already started integrating the new high level version of AI answering service. Remember, some of you guys would know this. I'd contracted another AI development company for the last 2 years. They've been on retainer that actually developed AI answering services for my tree guys, but they had full control over it. And now I brought it in-house because I've got an AI dev team on retainer now that is kind of like, we've got an actual revenue share agreement, like a real signed agreement and everything. So there's a lot more transparency, and I have a lot more access to, modifying things and stuff like that. So that was just recently added into the high level account, and you can demo it by, again, just go to voice.treecarehq.com and you can you can reach a demo on that. As soon as the appointment setting side of it is done with the logistical component and the AI route planner and all that kind of stuff that needs to be integrated, I'll be sharing that with you guys because I'm going to do a full-on launch for TreeCare HQ when it's ready. Okay, so I'll share it with you at that time.
Nice.
All right, next one is Bradley. For finding these leads, do you recommend cold emailing or cold call? I just do cold email, guys. I don't do cold calling. I can't stand cold calling. I don't have the stomach for that. So I just do cold email. And currently because of my directory, which I've been preaching to you guys for years to build a goddamn directory, I've got over 2,200 tree service contractors that are warm contacts. So when I'm ready to fully launch Canopy Call, which that'll be launching before, well, I don't know. Arbor Avatar might actually launch before Canopy Call. But in either case, when I go to launch either one of those services, I'm going to hit my warm list first. And that way I can dial the offer in. The sales page, I will take segments of my list. And like, let's say 2,200 contractors on my list as an example. Let's just use that as an example. After I cleaned, I just went through the list filtering and cleaning process about a week ago. And I had like just under 1,400 contacts that, so anyway, let's say I'll take a batch of like 300 at a time and I'll send out the first offer via or via email to my lukewarm list of contacts and see, monitor how the engagement is on the sales page and everything else. And then I'll take another version of the sales page with, a split test of the headline or something like that and send it to another one. And I'm going to try to dial my offer in through my warm contacts first. Then once that way I can, try to improve the conversion rates of the offer based upon the testing to my lukewarm list. And then once I've gone through that process and I have a good converting offer, then I'm going to roll that out to cold marketing, right? So I'll be doing a lot of cold emailing, LinkedIn, and then also web form submissions. I'll be doing web form submission service too, because all I'm going to do is push prospects to a landing page where it'll be a full AI demo. Like, in other words, they can call the number, everything will be 100% automated to where, if they want to, after seeing the demo and engaging with the AI on the demo page, if they want to then book a call with me for any follow-up questions or additional questions, whatever, by all means, they'll have the ability to book a call with me. In fact, as they're conversing with the AI will be suggesting that, like, hey, if you have additional questions and you want to talk with Bradley, the owner of TreeCare HQ, let's book you. Let's get you booked right now. Let's get you scheduled right now. And so again, I'm going to be testing to my cold or kind of lukewarm list first that are already aware of who TreeCare HQ is and have engaged with us at some level. And then once I've got it dialed in a bit, then I'll be going outside and kind of doing more mass marketing via cold email, web form submissions, and a lot of outreach via social media, LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. By leads, I mean finding leads to grow the agency. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Okay. What's up, Will? I saw, and then David says, for leads of this AI call system, are you forwarding numbers, routing? What's the process? I'm trying to get into this and I'm trying to overcome the logistics. Are you forwarding numbers? Well, no. Like in high level, you set up whatever the number is for the account, and then that's the phone number. So, I mean, you can have multiple phone numbers, but you just don't forward a number. So in high level sub account, you create the phone number that will be used as the answering service so in other words, that will be the AI agent's phone number. And so you just don't have that forwarded anywhere. And then, the AI agent there's a number of options that can be like routing, the goal is to actually have the appointment booked by the AI agent so that when the consumer calls in to schedule a quote, an estimate, to request an estimate, they get the appointment booked right there on the spot. Does that make sense? Because that will significantly increase the conversion rates for that contractor. Way more than waiting than for the answering service to just take the contact information, forward it to the contractor, and then wait for the contractor to call the consumer back and schedule the appointment. The more time that passes between when the caller leaves their information and when the contractor calls them to schedule the appointment, the more time that passes, the less likely it is that they are the ones that get the job. You see what I'm saying? Because that consumer has already started calling others because they're looking for closure, right? Trying to close that open loop, if that makes sense. So, so right now, the way that it is the AI agent will handle the call. However, if something happens where like the AI, like there's an immediate need, they can do a call transfer, live call transfer. or take a message, depending on, again, what my contractor client, what he wants or what they want, right? I can ask them and say, like, do you want the ability for the AI to do a live transfer to you, or do you only want messages taken so that you can call back when it's convenient for you? There will be some customizable options that the contractor can choose, if that makes sense. So David says, okay, what I'm asking is, instead of changing the NAP phone number with the AI phone number, how do you get the phone number of that to the AI phone number? I hope that makes sense. Not really, but what I would do is take any phone number that for the tree contractor and update their phone number on all of their public facing stuff to be the AI voice number. You understand? So in other words, from Google, from any sort of marketing or advertising, any postcards, like all of that stuff, all of those should be going directly to the AI voice agent. So if that means updating their phone number across their digital channels, what's displayed, then so be it. It is what it is, because that's the point. The point is not to have the phone calls go directly to the contractor. The point is to have the AI answer every single inbound call. And so that's what needs to be publicly displayed everywhere else, is that new phone number. Okay. If they already have a forwarding number, you just update it. But if they don't, you get a new phone number. And by the way, when you do that, then in the Google Business Profile, you still keep the old number just as an additional phone number. That way, the original phone number is still associated with that particular business location, and therefore there's no NAP discrepancies. You can still update the phone number with a new phone number that goes directly to the AI answering service, and it won't affect NAP, won't cause NAP discrepancies as long as both phone numbers are associated with the GBP. Okay. Okay. So guys, we're going to go ahead and get into questions. I'm going to grab the screen if I can figure out how to do this. Give me 1 second. This is a new platform for us.
You got this, Bradley. I believe in you.
You can do it. All right, let me grab the screen. I think it's this one here.
There you go. Let's see.
Let's see.
Still black screen on mine.
No, Bradley. Let's see if this comes through.
I think he's frozen.
All right, everybody, we'll give it a minute and see if Bradley comes back. Like we said, this always happens with switching over tech stuff, so we'll give it a minute or two. All right, I'm going to head over to the YouTube page and make sure that we're still live. I know we lost Bradley, but let's see what's going on here. All right, looks like we're still live. So thanks for bearing with us, everybody. We'll give Bradley a minute or two to hop back in here.
Speaking of which, are you still working on the DI project, Adam?
Which one? Yeah, I think we combined, we all have a bunch of stuff going on. I know Bradley's, with the stuff he was just talking about, he's got a lot that he's been updating in his agency, and these turn into really good services for other people to put to use in their agencies. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and I early developed kind of a YouTube summarizer tool that did things on autopilot, which I had been thinking about that before ChatGPT. 2.5 or 3 came along and made it much easier. But I've been running that for a little while. It's just a really small tool, but very helpful. All right, there's Bradley.
There he is.
Son of a bitch, I hit the screen share button and my fucking computer rebooted. Like, no. It like literally rebooted, guys. I just had to sign back in and everything. So stand by. Let me try it one more time. I hope it doesn't boot me again.
Well, the good news is it kept the stream going.
Yeah, so I was concerned that it wouldn't have. So let's try it again. Entire screen. All right, I'm gonna hit share. Let's see if it breaks again. Are we there?
Hey, look at that.
There it is.
All right, well, I got to pause the screen share now because I got to get to the appropriate Sorry, guys. Forgive me. Just give me 1 second. I'll just switch to my face for a minute. I'm sorry to make you stare at my face. All right. I think I got it. Let's try this again. Yeah, it was weird, dude. I hit screen share, and as soon as I did, my computer like literally rebooted.
Well, working now. All right, there we go. Looks good.
There
All right.
it is.
Let's do it. Sorry, guys. Until we get, it'll take a week or two to get used to this, so just bear with us. All right. Harry says, "Hey, Bradley, when doing directory outreach, is there any concern? Get out of here. Is there any concern about overlapping niches in your mastermind community since everyone using that method is similar, has a similar directory and outreach copy?" No. Well, I've told people in the past that it makes sense to try to pick different industries, but I've had a number of people come through the program that have chosen tree service. And I was like, hey, I don't care. Like, and here's the thing, like, I don't care because look, I just did a bunch of research recently with Grok using a particular kind of data pack to train. Anyways, I've been doing a lot of industry research in the tree service industry, and there's over 165,000 tree service contractors in America. Think about that. 165,000 plus tree service contractors in the United States alone. So it's like I don't give a shit whether there's overlap or not. Like, there's so many damn tree service contractors. It's like there's no way that if I got 1%, if I got 0.5% of that, I'd be set for the rest of my days. You know what I mean? So honestly, it's all about the messaging and the hustle. And so most people that come through the program, I'm not going to lie. A lot of people don't, what is the problem in our industry? Think about it. A lot of people, they consume information and they chase new opportunities, shiny objects all the time, and don't stick with anything long enough to make a lot of massive success out of it. Right. I'm not saying that's true of everybody, but it's true of the vast majority of people. And we know that for a fact because we've been coaching and teaching for over 10 years now. And so, only a very small portion of the people actually fully execute everything. And those are the ones that are going to be successful anyways, because they stick through the difficult times, right? A lot of people, as soon as they hit something that's challenging, and there's no business out there that you can get into that you're not going to run into very difficult challenges. The idea is to overcome them and to have, guidance and be surrounded by people that have been there, done that, so that you can avoid some of those challenges or navigate through them in a much more efficient manner when you are hit with those or faced with those challenges. But a lot of people, they quit because they then go look for an easier alternative, right? The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. And so people are always hopping the other side of the fence instead of staying in their lane and trying to make it successful. And so I found that, there's plenty of, it's a great big blue ocean of money slopping around out there. You know what I mean? And you just got to get some of it. And the way that, so I don't think I honestly don't care. That's why I've told members that come into the group, like, hey, you want to do tree service? By all means, that's fine. It's a big damn country. I've focused most of my attention on the East Coast anyway, because that's where I've spent my entire life, is on the East Coast. And so that's where the majority of my business is. Doesn't mean I can't expand nationwide. I certainly can. And I do. I target all over. As a matter of fact, for whatever reason, I got California was like one of the best states to hit for cold email, like response rates. California, I just had like a 80 or a 68% response rate or open rate or something. Like, it was ridiculous. It was the highest of of all states. And I don't know why that was. It just seems odd. But I'm just pointing that out because it's so big, right? And if you're in a very, very tiny industry, then perhaps it wouldn't be a good idea if there's a lot of competition in that. But here's the thing. It's all about your positioning, right? I mean, let's put it this way. Some of you guys are on Hump Day Hangouts right now, listening to me talk, right? Well, there's so many other SEO and local marketing type peeps that you could be listening to right now, but you're here listening to me. Why? Just because you gravitate to my style, perhaps, So it's the same thing in marketing when you run an agency, right? It doesn't matter if there's other competitors that are boutique agencies that focus on that particular niche or business vertical. That your message will resonate with some of them. Other agencies' message will resonate with others. Who cares? The whole point is, if you get your name out there and get in front of enough of your ideal prospect, some of them are going to appreciate and gravitate towards your style. And those are the ones that you want. You don't want to, here's the thing, guys, like, there's this dude on X that I've been following lately. He's a young guy. He's a TikTok marketer. But the guy's he's a killer, man. He's a beast. I mean, he's sharp. He's a young guy too. I think he's like 18 years old now, and he's been doing this forever. But anyways, he puts out these really, really good posts about talking about how, like, specifically he repels people because of his bluntness, and he's very, very direct and blunt in his copy when he writes copy and things like that, and even in his posts and all of that. And he says, he's very transparent about the fact that his aggressiveness and the way that he's so, and he does use bad words, cusses for emphasis, similarly to how I do. It's not gratuitous, but it's for emphasis. And same thing, he does that in all of his copy, and he talks about how he repels 99% of the people that would be his audience. And I'm getting to a point here, guys, and that is, I think it's, he talks about, but the 1% of people that gravitate towards or are attracted to his style, they're 100% all in on board. They're willing to pay the $10,000 a month for, services and retainers, because they naturally gravitate and appreciate his style and his tone and his directness, where it repels the vast majority of the audience, which would be his total addressable market, right? He repels the vast majority of them, so that the ones that are still willing and interested in working with him are already fully on board, because they know how he speaks and how he talks and how he operates. And so I like that. I like that idea, kind of that model, or because, trying to be it's the same thing I've been preaching for years, guys. Like the Me Too agencies, all of you out there that are doing marketing services for any business that will look in your direction, you have an enormous amount of work, much more so than you need to, because you're trying to be everything to everybody. Or if you're trying to offer too many damn services instead of specializing in on a couple, you're never very good at all of them. Because you're spread too thin. And there's always exceptions to the rules. There are some people that are very successful being a Me Too agency, right? A generalist agency, and they offer bunches of services, but it's a hell of a lot harder. And it's more work than necessary, in my opinion. Pick one industry, get to know it really well, develop services, products and services that are solutions for the problems in that business or that industry. And then you scale through repetition, right? And through that process, you refine your offer, you refine your messaging, you refine your pitch, so that you get higher conversions, you can charge higher prices, you keep clients for longer, all of that. So specializing, like, significantly reduces your workload, right? Well, it's the same thing, kind of along the same lines as what this guy was talking about, which I kind of like, which is, instead of trying to be accepted by all, be polarizing, because you're going to turn off some people, and then the people that are attracted to you are more likely to be your customers, right? Or your clients, whatever it is that you're, hopefully trying to gain from that relationship. So the point that I'm trying to make is, I think, there's not really any overlap concern, in my opinion, because there's enough. If you were in a very, very tiny industry, well, number one, look for another industry, but number two, perhaps, but even then, it's all about your messaging and everything else. Think about, like, AI guys now, with all the AI apps coming out, like, they're coming out, they're a dime a dozen now, right? So you could find 20 AI apps right now that do something that you want done, and you're just going to pick one of them that resonates with you. It's the same thing with your marketing, or it's selecting an industry. Your specific style and tone, your agency's or your brand's style and tone is going to determine which types of clients you attract, and perhaps which kind of clients you repel. And perhaps repelling a certain type of client is not a bad thing, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Moving on, James says, how do you maximize book rates for directory cold emails? Currently getting around 80% positive reply rate, and a response email is typically a link to their website, since I omitted it. After that, I reply and say, we're working on it. We'll get back to you in a few days for approval. But once I request for a meeting to go over their listing, book rate is only around 5%. Should I be sending more nurture emails in between their initial response and the listing delivery email? Yeah, so that's what we do. But see, ours is via an AI agent. So when they first reply from that cold email reply, so our directory outreach process is cold email, right? And when they reply, and that's instantly, I've got a filter in instantly that's a sentiment analysis. And so instantly will only trigger a webhook when the inbound reply is either positive or neutral. If it's negative, if there's negative sentiment, it doesn't even trigger the webhook. So our CRM high level is only a new contact is only created when we get a positive or neutral response that is according to instantly sentiment filters. And so as soon as that contact is piped in via webhook to it creates a contact card a contact and then an opportunity card in the directory main pipeline pipeline. And so anyways, that's what that opportunity card creation, which is in that webhook automation or workflow. It's the second step. It first creates the contact. The second step is creates the contact card. That is the trigger that then adds that contact into the AI automation, which is the workflows built where the AI agent then takes over the conversation and has multiple touch points via email, SMS, and even voice. If the contact goes quiet in email or SMS, where they stop responding or they don't respond during the time limits or time frames that we have set, then the AI will actually do an outbound voice call to them to try to further the conversation. And so we have multiple touch points, interactions with them between when they first reply and when the directory listing is ready. And then again, that's another set of automations that the AI manages under my agency, at least, which is where the AI will then try to book the appointment. And yeah, we still have a fairly low appointment book rate. It's like 20% of our leads. So it's not a lot that we get book calls. And then out of the book calls, a lot of them are no-shows. And I understand it because of the type of business that they're in. So we have a very thorough nurture process for missed appointments or, people that kind of don't book the appointment. But then I've talked about this before on Hump Day Hangouts, but depending on how engaged the contact is between that cold email reply and when the AI is engaged with them, right, kind of further continuing to build rapport, right? So they're kind of nurturing that contact up until the point where we then try to book the appointment, which is the listing delivery call, but it's also, that's what I call the start of the sales conversation, okay? So it's kind of a dual role, right? It's the listing delivery call and the start of the sales conversation. And I tell the contact that, by the way, on the call, I let them know I'm 100% transparent. Like I tell them that, like, we're going to do two things on this call. Number one, we're going to review your listing, make sure everything's accurate, make any changes. That way we can, you're happy with it before we promote it. Number two, I'm going to show you some things that we identified that are preventing you from, performing as well as you could. And I'm going to introduce you to some of our products and services that can help you to resolve these. And so I tell them right up front. But anyway, so we nurture that a little bit further. And so if the contact doesn't show up to a booked appointment, that used to piss me off all the time. And it still kind of does a little bit. But especially when I'm dealing with like white label, when I'm selling my white label services and SEO professionals don't show up, that pisses me off really bad. But when tree guys don't show up, I kind of understand it because the nature of their business, right? They get tied up on jobs all the time. And, there's just so many things that can occur that can prevent them from showing up for an appointment. I get it. So as long as they were really engaged, meaning good communication, responding in a, fairly timely manner to any responses from or messaging from the AI, which they don't know it's AI, right? As long as they're engaged in that process, then if they miss the booked appointment, then I give them the benefit of the doubt. And that's usually because I've already got a 30-minute block of time scheduled out for that booked appointment. If they don't show up, then I already have all of their kind of what I was going to cover with them on the call. It's already pulled up in my browser, ready to go when the call starts, the appointment starts. And if they don't show up, then, I go right into I'll give it about 5 minutes. And sometimes I'll send them, I'll send them a text message within the first 5 minutes, just be like, hey, I'm in the appointment. Here's the link. And if they don't reply back or jump on right away, then I'll just keep the Zoom meeting open. Well, now it'll be Google Meet because we're getting rid of Zoom, but I'll keep that open. But then I'll go into I'll fire up my screencast recording software and I'll just start recording the same pitch that I was going to give to them on the call because I already had that time blocked off on my calendar. And if they were engaged in that process between the cold email response and the booked appointment, then it means there's rapport there. And it's likely that they probably just got tied up and they weren't able to make the meeting. And so there's still potential there, which is why I will take that time that's already scheduled for them and use it productively to still pitch to them, but do it via screencast recording video instead, which is, by the way, for years, that is how I got my clients in tree care. Because I used to be scared I used to hate doing sales calls. Now I don't mind at all, but I used to hate doing sales calls. And so I always tried to close my contractor clients on with video email. And I did. That's how I built my agency, was with video email. It wasn't until 5 years ago that I started really focusing in on sales and got over my fear of selling, direct selling. So anyways, the reason I say that is because if they're not all that engaged between that kind of first response to the cold email and the actual booked appointment, or they don't book the appointment at all, then they just go into a nurture sequence. And so we have I've got a biweekly newsletter. So every contact that comes into my CRM, they get automatically added to the newsletter. They can unsubscribe at any time. But we also have individual email nurture sequences. And now, because of AI, I'm working on developing a lot more sophisticated multi-touch, multi-channel outreach and nurture sequences. So LinkedIn, X, Facebook, etc., because we can automate so much of that. So that's on my schedule to do. It's one of the things I'm working on because I use it for myself, but then it's also, again, another service that can be delivered to other agencies, etc. So to answer your question, yes, you definitely want to try to engage the contact a lot more, because you're building rapport. Remember, the more communication engagements, so the more instances that you can have a two-way communication. When I say you, it might be you now, but like the AI can do that. That's what I love about the AIs, because even if you had somebody in your company that was responsible for engaging with potential, engaging with prospects, they're only one person. They can only have one conversation at any one time. The AI can have multiple conversations simultaneously, if that makes sense. And so you can increase your kind of touch points because the AI can manage multiple conversations simultaneously. So there's no reason not to increase your touch points between, again, SMS, email, and phone, all of those things. And then, as I said, it's not going to happen before next year, the beginning of next year, but probably sometime in the first quarter of next year, I hope to have my other automations developed, which are going to be where we're going to be also engaging with them on as many different platforms as possible, not just email, SMS, and phone, but Facebook, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, which I'm not even on TikTok, but I'm going to be, because I know that a lot of the younger guys are on TikTok now. So, it is what it is. So hopefully that's clear. Just be more engaged, be more aggressive. And here's the thing, guys, with AI, there's no reason why you shouldn't be more aggressive, because it's not you. You don't have to have any fear of rejection, right? It's the AI. The AI doesn't give a shit whether they're rejected or not, whether the prospect cusses them out or hangs up on them or whatever. Doesn't matter. So there's no discouragement on the AI side when they get rejected. So there's no reason not to increase your frequency of touch, contact, etc., via multiple channels when that can all be automated. Okay. So hopefully that's clear. Karoom says, how do you use IFTTT free now? You don't. I mean, you can, but it's limited to, I think, 2 applets or something like that. So you get the pro version. Stupid and expensive. Get the pro version. So that answers that question. That was an easy one. How can you use the free one? You don't, unless you want to limit yourself to just 2 channels. Just pay for the pro version. It's very inexpensive, right? If you're doing client work, it goes into the client's retainer. If it's for you, it's very inexpensive. Just purchase it. It's not much. It doesn't cost much. Okay. Jay says, hey, Bradley, I see many of your videos, and every now and then another tool would pop up or get mentioned. You mentioned Majestic SEMrush for Magic Keyword, Yext subscription via SEMrush, Writer's End, Content Maxima, and Instantly. Could you please summarize what tools do you rely on day to day? Yeah, sure. That's easy. High Level, Bright Local. We use Majestic for backlink analysis. Now I use, Google Gemini for pretty much just all day-to-day operations, because Workspace Gemini is so integrated into Workspace apps. It's just absolutely amazing. So convenient. Like, it's just amazing. Gemini is awesome. It's my favorite, no question. And so I'm always in Workspace now. A matter of fact, I've got multiple Workspace accounts now for different brands that I constantly have open, because everything that I do for that particular company now is contained within the Workspace environment. And the Gemini has full access to these are all settings that you have to enable. I'm doing the SOP specifically now for what we're calling Clone Constructor. We're going to be launching, like I said, I hope our launch date should be December 8th. But I'm working on the SOPs for that now. And I recommend that you set up a separate Google Chrome profile for a workspace account, and then you enable all of the Gemini features, which there's a number of settings that you have to go into the admin dashboard of the workspace account and actually go manually turn on a lot of these settings. Even with a brand new account, the brand new account has a certain level of Gemini integrations. If you set up a new, I just set one up last night. I started recording the SOP videos for the training for Clone Constructor. And so I went through a brand new process setting up a brand new workspace account last night, and you still have to go into the settings and modify to enable and allow Gemini full access to everything. And so that's why I recommend that you have a separate Chrome profile with a separate workspace account where everything contained is specific to that particular brand, that business, which could be your agency or whatever. But don't allow that to then cross over into like your own personal Gmail and everything else. I'm a little bit skeptical about allowing Gemini to have access to all of my personal files and records and everything else. But my business related stuff, I'm okay with that, all contained within a particular Chrome profile, if that makes sense. And so it just makes it so much easier to use Gemini to be able to query for anything in the Google Workspace ecosystem. And it can, like right in the chat, it can find and pull files out from other areas. And like, it's insane. And and then also it's fully integrated into all the other apps now, like, Google Colab or Anti-Gravity and all these other things. And it's just amazing to be able to build. So right now, like I said, high level, Bright Local, Majestic, SEMrush, but I really only use SEMrush now, not even for the keyboard magic tool anymore, because I don't really care about keywords, right? Focus on algorithm trigger words, and that's what I use Content Maxima for. But I still use SEMrush for local listings, Yext essentially, and then like I said, Google Gemini. I'm in there all the time now, and instead of we still do manage some WordPress sites. I don't like it, but I still do manage some WordPress sites, which I hate. And then more recently, I've started building sites with Bolt.new. It's not quite there yet, though, on that. Took a little bit longer to build a site than I had really hoped, actually. And so I'm still kind of on the fence about that one. But hopefully that answers your question. Got a few more to run through, guys, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. All right, next one is, when it comes to all the assets and accounts you open for your clients, are they all owned by the client? Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, so if a client already has a workspace account, then we will, get added as a separate, like I'll get my own user added to it. I'll usually have to coach them on how to do that. We just get on a Zoom call and I have them do a screen share, and I walk them through adding me as a user so that I have my own login. And then I manage everything through their workspace account as a user. But if they don't have, which a lot of tree guys don't have workspace accounts, then I set it up for them, right? If they're on a low end service, like one of my front end services that are only $99 a month, I don't do that. I have a universal workspace account that I use for my lower paying clients. It's just automatically connected to all the different sub accounts that I manage those, because everything I manage is through high level, right? So all clients, like less than 10% of my tree contractor clients even have access to their sub account in high level. Most of them don't want it. And so, but every client gets a sub account. Does that make sense? And so with the lower paying services, so like, LLG sites, if they're renting them, but most of them don't, because they just get applied when they sign up for something else. But Google Business Basic SEO, review management, review solicitation and management, reactivation and reviews campaign is really what that is. Those are all like $99 a month services. And so on those types of services, no, I don't set up a workspace account for them. They just get one of mine, unless they have their own, and then we'll set it up for them. But most of them don't. But as soon as they get on to any of kind of the more higher level retainer plans, which includes marketing services and everything, we always set up a workspace account for them, and then connect that high level account specifically to their workspace domain. Remember, like I said, less than 10% of my tree contractors even have access to high level because they don't want it. And so they don't know that we're managing their business through high level, and they don't care. So hopefully that's clear. We use a workspace account for everything, and then I build everything in that domain, really, so everything, all accounts that we set up for them are all with an email back to the workspace domain, all of that. So it's theirs. That's what they're paying for. A lot of the link building stuff is done to my assets or through my assets. But for branded assets and everything, yeah, it's the client's property. It's they're paying us to build it on their behalf, and I brand it to them. So if they decide they want to cancel services with me, I turn it over to them. I don't hold anything hostage. They might lose a lot of their links, but they're not going to lose their branded assets or any of that kind of work. If that makes sense. A couple more, guys. I know we're just a little bit over, and I want to wrap up too. So Jay says, as an agency that creates content, blueprint discussions, business growth opportunities, etc., should I host posts directly on my GHL agency site or on a subdomain and link to Medium? Also, do you think it's a good practice when making YouTube video to link it from other accounts? Yes, absolutely. You want to cross share posts between social media, like, or tag at least posts and things like that when it's appropriate. That just creates more reach for sure. As far as blogging, I've been talking about for a long time. It's not wise for SEO to blog on the same domain. And I've been talking about blogging externally instead on branded like Web2s and brand extensions, but external domains, okay, which can be branded Web2s, press releases, YouTube channels, social media profiles, etc. All of those are brand extensions where you can publish content, but it's not on the same domain. And that's what I've been recommending for months now, or if not over a year. More recently, though, because of the way that AI, when optimizing for AI search, which is something else I've started teaching in Mastermind, and we're developing specific services for that now too, AI SEO, but really just Gemini. That's all I'm focusing on is Gemini SEO, optimizing for Gemini. Okay, and if you do that right, it will likely carry over to the other models as well. But what I was saying was the kind of optimizing for Gemini and having the instead of blogging just on externals branded sites, which I still think is critical to get branded content published on other platforms as well. But to publish on a subdomain instead of direct to the money site, where now you can create competing pages, you can still blog, but do it on a subdomain. I'm starting to test a little bit with that. I haven't had much of a chance in the last couple of weeks. I've been working on developing this clone constructor automation. But anyway, but it makes sense to have some of the content that you're publishing published on the domain, not the root domain where the product and service pages are that you're trying to get visitors that will convert, but informational queries is what you're trying to capture with blog posts. You see what I'm saying? Like top of funnel, right? Not bottom of, like bottom of funnel type of search queries that you want to rank for. Transactional search queries with commercial intent, right? Those type, I think, should be money site content. But informational, so top of funnel, so bottom of funnel stuff, that's like money site content, and you should really focus the site. And for local businesses, I think the site should be focused in on bottom of funnel type search queries. But for informational type, top of funnel type stuff, external branded blogs, social media, press releases, and now I'm starting to test a little bit more with a subdomain blog on the main, so a subdomain of the root, the main money site. So that because it's the same domain, so it has a kind of a better branding connection. But and also, if you're publishing content and you're it's proliferating out and collecting links and things like that, it can also benefit the root domain by collecting links to the blog posts on the subdomain, if that makes sense. And you can also link from the subdomain's blog posts up to the top level product or service pages, which is what you would do with the content anyway, if that makes sense. So I am doing a little bit more testing with also blogging from a subdomain, not the main root domain. But to be honest, with a lot of the tree guys that I have, we're just doing it on the external domains like Google Sites, Medium, Weebly, or Weebly gets suspended so easy right now though. But the WordPress sites, those kind of things. Okay, hopefully that's clear. But yes, cross-link between them. It will help to strengthen and help with discoverability too. That's important. Right. Jason says, sorry, I'm late. By the way, the course is amazing. Oh, so this is Jason that won last week. That's fucking cool. Only problem with y'all today. Why are you on YouTube Live and still streaming 720p? I don't know. Maybe that's a setting I have in the new platform. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I have to check on that. Anyways, what's up, Jason? It's good to see you. Spoke too soon. Is much clearer. Okay, maybe so. We're on a new platform now, so I don't know. Do you recommend SEMrush over Ahrefs? No, I don't recommend either. I use Majestic because all I do is analyze backlinks. I don't use all the other tools that come with SEMrush and Ahrefs. And SEMrush backlink analysis is garbage. Don't use it. Ahrefs has got good analysis, but it doesn't have, and it's got a shit ton of tools that I don't use. So, and it's expensive. That's why I don't use it. I I use Majestic because I do backlink analysis only, and Majestic has topical trust flow metric. It's not the metric that matters. It's the classification of topical relevance of external backlinks that matters. And it's a fairly accurate indicator of the topical relevance of external backlinks. So the metric is just their classification system, topical trust flow categories. And I use that specifically as my determination as to whether a link is valuable or not, is whether it's relevant. And so I use the topical trust flow metric to determine that. It's not the metric that matters. It's the relevance that matters, and that is the best indicator of relevance, if that makes sense. And I use Majestic for that, and that reason only. I don't use Ahrefs. I've never been a fan of Ahrefs. It's too damn expensive anyway. And SEMrush has got shitty backlink analysis. They've got some other cool tools though. So, all right, guys, I got to wrap it up. We're a little bit over, so I'm going to shut it down. I appreciate you guys hanging out, and we'll see you guys next week.